So every interaction that you have within and outside, inside out again, makes you who you are. Um, you have bills to pay, you have kids to raise, but at the same time, you also are answerable to yourself for who you are and who you see yourself to be. You don't know who that person would be. You're work in progress.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to our webinar, kicking off the month of creativity. What's been really, really cool is, I don't know if you guys know that Komal has taken over the programming part of our webinars. So she is the brains and the beauty and the brawn behind, right?
Behind brawn, yes. Brawn, definitely, yes.
Flex it, lady, flex it.
Yeah.
But Komal's been the person who's kind of come up with the themes so far and has been carrying them through. And yeah, last month was on kindness, and we got some really, really great feedback from people because it was great because Komal was there. And this month we are changing directions. But are we really? We're changing directions to creativity, but kindness should always be there. So it should underpin everything that we do, right?
Yes, absolutely. And I'm just taking a minute so that our second panelist, Gayatri, can also join us. But in the meantime, let me introduce Anuradha to you and to everybody else just a little bit, and then she will do a better job of introducing herself.
I can't promise that. Go ahead.
Okay, so I met Anuradha when I relocated to Canada, and we met in a, what do we call that? It was a poetry group.
Open mic.
Okay.
Poetry group, open mic.
Poetry open mic group, and I heard her poem, and then I heard her stand-up comedy act, and oh my God, it blew me apart. And I was like, I have to talk to this lady, I have to meet her. And that was our introduction. And then I figured out more and more, and we got to share a whole lot of our stories. And so stories connected us, poetry connected us. And so when I was thinking about creativity, a few sort of pictures and names popped up in my mind. I said, I must have Anuradha on board. So yeah, so that's a little brief introduction.
Thank you so much. I'm actually equally excited to be here. When you told me about storytelling, I feel that's the most organic way of, moving forward in any situation, any, be it creativity, be it corporate. That's how you make people trust you. And I literally jumped on it, not from a perspective that I'm a subject matter expert on storytelling, but really just I wanted to share my journey, what I've learned. I would like to learn from Gayatri, who I look up to so as well. And going back to me and Magda, just so you know, I absolutely adore Komal. She's brought so much delightful conversations to the table for us. There hasn't been one time or one day that I've met her and I've not taken home plethora of happiness, movement, new ideas, new thoughts that I wanna, kind of deep dive into. And some of her conversations have also leaked on to other people's conversations. And she's just a phenomenal person to be around with, apart from being such a great friend. So I'm so excited to be here, Komal.
Thank you, Anuradha. And we have Gayatri too.
Hello.
Welcome, finally.
Thank you. I'm sorry about the glitch, but I'm finally here. Good to see you all. Hi.
Yes. So Gayatri, meet Magda.
Hi, Gayatri.
Hey, Magda.
And a whole lot of other people who are joining us from all across the world. And a little introduction about Gayatri. I got into global mobility, and she'd been my godmother or mentor or whatever I call her. Like, I learned everything about the work from her. And so our bond goes for a very, very old time. And then through the journey, we also realized that she's not just very witty in her own way, she's also very, very creative. And that creative shows up in the work that she does, the stories she writes, and the art that she creates. So it was quite appropriate for her to be here today. So welcome.
Thank you so much, Komal.
Yeah.
And I must say that I'm very, very proud of Komal's journey. And I look forward to whatever that she's doing, because Komal has completely reinvented herself, and being a coach and a mentor, she always had that aura, and she's that light through the tunnel that will show you the way with everyone that she's mentored, prospered, her clients, people who work for her. She's been a delight to know. So Komal, thank you. This goes likewise. I'm very, very proud of the person that you become. And thank you for having me here. Of course, Anuradha, I've known for a very, very long time. We're formally meeting today. So, 10 years?
2011, 2010, 2011.
Yeah, 11 years. So, it's good to be in this office company today.
Wonderful.
And if I can just add here, Komal, just like you said, she has been your in-person mentor at your workplace. She's also been my sort of like a silent mentor over all these years. She is beyond talented. I look up to her like my most favorite storyteller amongst ourselves. And everything, like my goal 10 years ago or 12 years ago was one day I would like to write as good as her. And that goal has not been achieved yet, but she's been there throughout and through forward. And I know she's going to be there. So I'm so excited to be sharing this space with her along with you, Komal. So we have this magical thing going on today.
Absolutely. And while our larger audience doesn't need any introduction for Magda, I would like you to meet her, because she is one fascinating, amazing, creative, and such a funny person. Like, she will crack you up.
I was wondering why you're going to have me here.
I want to have Bio's best friend.
Yeah.
Hi,
It's like,
Magda. I'm your crazy neighborhood cat lady who also collects stray plants and likes to make things. Yeah, so I'm the CEO of Coacharya. I'm, as my sister says, not professional at all. Every time I go to a webinar, she goes, Magda, like, why? It's just so embarrassing sometimes.
No,
because my sister is, poised and professional, unlike some people. No, but in all seriousness, what was quite funny for me is actually Komal didn't invite me to this webinar as a panelist, and I'm like, hey, what? Why? Especially because she, in the invite, she mentioned my Instagram handle, Magda Makes It. Because we were talking about it a few months ago. I've been in marketing like my entire life in some way or form. So when all the different social networks launched, I signed up for the social networks when they launched. And back when they launched, people weren't as cool with their names. They were like putting their birthdays. So I used to be Magda 711 because my birthday coming up in a couple of days, Magda 711. And then I rebranded a couple of years ago because I'm like, you know what? There's more to me than 711. And I changed it to Magda Makes It because I make stuff and I make it through stuff. And I make things fun and I make things make sense. So I thought Magda Makes It was appropriate. But then I'm like, I have like people who I've met who follow me, like I don't really have a presence online. Like, what am I going to teach people? And Kiva, who I don't know if she's here or not, reminded me, Magda, you live life like you and you're on brand for Magda more than anyone I know. And I'm like, oh yeah, you know what, I am. Like if it is what it is. And today it's pink and peach and shaved on the sides. But thank you for having me here. I think that's what I can contribute. It's kind of leaning into that, your own story, and just being the story and not making one up, because you is good enough and interesting enough. And apparently in my case, funny enough. So thanks.
Absolutely. Brilliant. Thank
You
you
have a
so
light
much.
from me.
Thank you for sharing, Magda.
I already feel a lot of love in our panel today. And I hope all the people can feel that too. So coming back to our topic and what is it that we are going to discuss today is one question that I have dreaded for life. I've really dreaded, and I've been asked so many times is, introduce yourself. Or tell us about yourself. And oh my God, it always puts me in a fix. I'm like, oh, okay, about myself. What is it that I must tell? Should I tell my name, where I come from, and all that, blah, blah, blah. But there is another way in which when we just meet and if somebody asks me, okay, what's your story? I'll be like, okay, which story?
Hold my
I'm
cosmos.
interested. Now, how much time do you have? And the barrage sort of opens. So I thought story is such a creative way. And when I look at all three of you, you have created your own space through some stories that are so authentic, genuine, coming from the heart, and also shows, if not the entire you, but a part of you that people can connect with. And I was wondering, just tell us a little bit about how did that come to happen? How did that come out? Like, how did you find your own stories, and where did those stories come from? Whoever would like to go first.
I mean, I can always go first because I don't
Yeah.
like awkward silences, but let's have the guests maybe go first.
No, we would love to hear you, Magda. Please carry on.
Yeah, actually, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Put the pressure on. I just met you and you're already putting pressure on me. That's okay. I thrive under pressure.
We are
so
new
don't
best
worry.
friends, Magda.
Totally.
We are new best friends.
So my story. So I've always been a heart on the sleeve type person. I've always been, for lack of better word, blunt and honest. So I feel like I've always lived my parts of my story, and I've never, I've always been visible and public about it. But as I got older, and as I went through crappy experience after crappy experience, is when different aspects of me, I think, will just kind of burst out and go, F this, like, I'm done. I don't care anymore. Like, I know that I'm a good person. I know that I make the right choices and live my life according to good values. Everybody else can go themselves. So not sorry, but it's, gosh, I should write a book because I have some good stories. But I've had some, horrid experiences through work. I've had some horrid experiences through relationships, and all those things kind of combined to make me want to be a different person and hide those aspects of myself that I was getting feedback on from others that, oh, this is not good enough. You're not lovable. You're too in your face, you're too whatever. There was always too something or something not enough. And, you hear it enough and that's what you start believing. And I did. And for almost like a good decade, like I felt worthless and I felt like I didn't deserve to be successful or loved or, you name the cliche. That's what I felt. And it took a few kind of smacks in the face for me to kind of lean in, for lack of a better phrase, into what I am, and realize that it's actually okay that some people aren't going to like me. It's actually good that people aren't going to like me, because the ones who like me are my people, and the ones who don't are not my people. And that's okay, because if everybody liked me, then that makes me vanilla and pretty boring or beige or whatever, right? But I'm not that. Like, I'm all the colors. So I started, like, I never censored myself really, which if my parents have watched, they'd be like, Magda, like, you've never not expressed yourself since I was a little kid. And this is true. Sorry, one little side note. When I grew up in communist Poland, right? So in our class pictures, you had to wear your scout uniform and you had to be like this.
Not smile.
And I got yelled at every year, and not just like reprimanded, yelled at. Communist in Poland, okay? And small village, for smiling in photos. So every year, the class would just, be obedient. And then there's Magda, either with teeth or when I got really yelled at. So anyway, I've always been very accommodating. So yeah, so
Komal,
anyway.
Can we do this again? I would love to talk to you more, Magda. You're just so delightful.
Thanks. I'll take that adjective. I'll be delightful. Anyway, so now I'm good. I feel like I'm every day embracing myself more and more. And every time I discover something that I appreciate, I kind of go, oh yeah, that's good. So like, I'm learning to take compliments. And, when it comes to kind of telling my story through the networks of social and media and whatever else, I just kind of post what's on my mind, because I am what I am. So if you like it, awesome. If you don't, that's okay too. But you're missing a lot of cat content. So.
Wow, wonderful. So your story is primarily of accepting and allowing yourself to just be unapologetic about your voice. Wonderful. Okay, let's move to Anuradha.
I just wanted to say, Magda, even though I'm not as witty as you made your story to be, but the crux, the essence of the story is exactly how I would put it as well. It's been a journey and a long journey about really unlearning a lot of things, unlearning that, I don't know where did I learn not to love myself. Because my mother always says the first thing you do is you love yourself. Your consciousness is love, and you only know yourself. So self-consciousness is self-love. But you learn not to love yourself. You learn yourself through other people. And that gets programmed so deeply rooted in you. You don't know that there's something wrong with that fact. And that kind of a trigger for me to explore something came from the fact that I was not happy. I was miserable. I don't know how I got to that point. I was always the most cheerful person in the class, most cheerful person in the party. I was the party person, but I felt like everybody was happy around me except me. And what did I need to do to change that? And the first thing I learned is that, that the one thing that the programming does to you is that it makes you not experiment. It gives you the fear of failure. It makes you, dread rejection. And I think the light at the end of the tunnel that I had to go through was the tunnel of rejections, was the tunnel of exploration, knowing that I am going to fail. If I'm not going to fail, there's probably something wrong with me. I need to fail. I need to understand that that failure is not like a dreaded subject that you need to push away from you. You know how even in like our back home, the schooling system makes you not fail, don't get less marks, don't just be the bestest version of yourself. But you can't be the bestest version of yourself if you have not allowed yourself to fail, or first put the wrong draft or the messy draft of your life forward. It's always going to be that messy draft. I remember that from you, Gayatri. You said put the draft forward. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be out. It has one role to do, just put it out. So the draft plan of what I wanted to be needed to be out. And I was like, well, it's not so bad. Nobody cares. Julie, I let go of good 15 years of my life thinking that people are gonna, carefully watch over what my plan is, and they're gonna analyze how I did well according to those plans. Nobody cared. Nobody cared. Nobody came to see, hey, that's your plan. They don't even remember. They probably don't even remember things I said 6 months ago. And that gave me a lot of, blooming time, a lot of irrelevancy around me that I could be whoever I wanted to be. And I realized there were days I wanted to be something, and there were days I didn't want to be something. And the other thing that I wanted to, I guess, crossed over was, so I think that I'm a sponge. I'm a SpongeBob for that matter. And I take in everything. And it was my place to, as I'm hoarding all the stories, I'm hoarding all the emotions, I'm hoarding other people's stories, other people's reflections and stuff. It was my job to see what I wanted and what I didn't want it. And the moment I got that control, the moment I understood that I had that control, I don't know, it was just organic. It was just flawless. I didn't have to really do something to let go of things. They just went away. There were people who went away. There were my bad habits that went away. And it made room for newer explorations. And it just started to come out to be. And today, I read a quote that I would like to use today. When you look back and you're like, all those little things did add up and they made the person that you are today. But you weren't actually doing it. All I was doing was, I don't want this. I don't want this. I don't want this. And all the right things started to kind of line up for you. That's my story.
Beautiful.
Wonderful.
I love the way you brought the messy draft thing. Like, yeah, let the messy draft be there. Nobody cares. And we're like, we're not like, oh my God, nobody cares. We're like, good, nobody cares. It works for us. That's such a narrative shift. Wonderful. Thank you. Gayatri,
Okay.
your story.
Okay, couple of things before I get on to my story. One is Anuradha is outrageously hilarious. She can say the most outrageous things and get away with it, and people would come in, wow, say that to us again. So let me just give that to her. And a little nudge with all her creativities out. I'm so happy to have two of my favorite girls, and third, my favorite girl in making Magda here. Magda, delight to listen to you unapologetically yourself, and I loved it. So I love you guys. Okay, so my story. I wanted to say I'm a sponge who absorbs everything, and the moment Anuradha said it, I said, okay, here goes my story. I had goosebumps. Is she reading my mind? Are we two alike? We are in a lot of ways, but I have a world with it. Ever since I was a child, I'm a little introvert, and I'm camera shy, and I would say things, as much as I want to, but there's a lot that I retain. So writing was the only way to get those things out, because if you store too much inside, it'll just bust. All your energy will go everywhere. So writing was an outlet that I found very young in life. And when the blogging started in early 2000s, I started blogging. I write in both the languages, Hindi and English. So whatever came into my mind, I just poured it out. And then we found social media. Twitter came along. That's when Anuradha and I connected. And in 140 characters, you could say a lot. And then suddenly you realize there's so many of you out there, who feel the same and always felt lonely within, thinking that, oh, okay, I'm now out clear, I'm the rough one, I'm the square amongst the triangles. So but then so the expression went on. Again, when you're an introvert, you observe more, and you collect feelings, you collect stories, you collect emotions. As an empath, you store them within, and then you look for an outlet. So that's where the storytelling came in. I started writing stories, and then I found the right mentors and coaches along with. That was very important because after 2 decades of corporate career, when I decided, okay, kids are growing up, the life is just going 9 to 5, and then every day is just a mirror of yesterday. I wasn't really going anywhere except for sudden outbursts on paper. So I decided to quit after 2 years. And found a coach and mentor. I did 6 months of coaching, one-person productivity program, and somewhere I wanted to write full time, but God had other plans. I started writing, then lost my writing somewhere, and I had writer's block, and I didn't know. I was in front of a laptop, a paper, and I didn't know what to do. Not a single word would come out. My poetry went away. My 140 character tweets went away. I didn't know what to say. I had nothing to say. And that point of time, I was working in between, and I came home, and then I didn't know what to do, and I started painting with poster colors that I got from my child. And that's where my journey with painting started. I converted, a guest room into a home studio because we didn't have any guests coming over. COVID was coming in, so I painted for hours, listening to books, audiobooks, uh, uh, and painted and painted and painted. And then I started posting it online. People showed interest, so sold some. While discovering painting, I somehow started making jewelry. I discovered different forms of jewelry, resin, and then another form, and then some of that came out. And I realized creativity does not need to have a definite path. You should just let yourself be. So the more I started my creativity flow freely, the more I started understanding myself. Who am I? What is my path? And then I had my coaches and mentor who were guiding me through. I wonder, if I didn't have people helping me out, how my journey would have been. But then, so that continued, and then one day I found my writing again. So I'm back to writing. I'm translating a book right now, writing scripts. Uh, I'm a work in progress. I don't know where this journey would go, but I'm very happy. I travel, I take photographs. I'm being myself. I've let go of a lot of toxic relationships in life, and I'm a happy soul. So this is who I am, probably. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Gayatri. And somewhere it's such a delight for me to witness all three of you and all your story. And there are so many different commonalities in our story, right? In our stories and in being who we are being or doing what we are doing right now. One of them is this radical acceptance of self and allowing ourselves to just lose free and say no foundations, no boundaries. This is who I am. This is what is wanting to be expressed out of me, and I'm not going to hold myself back. And in order to do that, be okay with the messy drafts and the messy us and not so politically correct us as well. I think that's quite wonderful. So,
Komal,
yeah.
I just intervening here. Why would you not share your story? Would love to hear your story. I know you're the moderator, but your story is amazing. Why don't you share your story here?
Okay, so like I said, I've got so many different stories. So which one is the question? So I would say, okay, so since we're talking about and also connecting it to who we want to be seen in the world as, I would pick up probably something from Nimitta, I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is going to be, that it's a symbol and it's a name which is there. And to me, so like through all of your stories, the same thing for me is, yes, first, a lot of self-rejection, a lot of pain, a lot of just accepting and just, sort of holding whatever emotions, thoughts, ideas, perceptions others bring to you in life. And then one day you're so full that you want to just burst out of it, and you have lost touch with who is the me in between all of this that I've hoarded around me, or hoarded inside me. So my story happened in a very, very dramatic way, that one So I was for a very long time contemplating this question of who really I am, what I really want in life. And then one night I just woke up at around 3 a.m., 3:30 a.m. in the morning. And the way I woke up was very different. It was like I was so full and so charged with a lot of energy, like I've never felt it before. And I knew that I cannot go back to the bed and sleep again. So I just sat up straight. I went outside and I was like, what do I do? And I picked up a diary and a pen and just started to write. And I just didn't think, I wasn't thinking consciously what I was writing, but what I was writing was the name of a few people, a plan, and this name, Nimitta. I had no idea what it is going to mean or what will happen, but that sort of happened in that moment. And then I wrote it, and I was again so full of energy and so energized. I didn't know what is happening with me. I never did any psychedelics, also, so that couldn't be the reason. I didn't eat anything odd in the dinner. So, anyway, so next morning, I went to office and did the routine work, but that paper that I wrote didn't let me sleep. So I thought that, if the names of all of these people are here and there's some sort of a plan in what I wrote, I must go and speak to them. So I started to go out and meet them. And the more I went out and met people, I found that just like me, they have been in those places where they have been like aching to do something, aching to be something else. And I was like, okay, definitely there is some connection which I'm finding here, but still it wasn't clear to me, like, what is it that I'm wanting to do with them. So that energy stayed, and I went out and started to meet, and some sort of a plan started to take shape. But then I started to come across a lot of challenges. Life started to happen. The things and situations in life changed, and that sort of went on a back seat. And but it would always be like a pricking thought in my mind that, that meant something. That meant something. Why are you leaving it, on a back burner? And then after almost a very dissonance 2 years of life, I said, one fine day, okay, I don't have a clear plan or path. What is the one thing that I can do right now? Something that we do in the coaching with our clients also, like, what is the one step showing up for you? So I just said, okay, one day by another day. Like Anuradha said, the messy draft, I said, okay, it is messy, it is not clear, but what is the one thing I need to do? So, and whatever steps sort of came up to me, I did that. And then I got into coaching, and a little bit, I met some therapist friends and worked along with them. And eventually it started to take shape. And I was like, okay, so I will be a coach and I will start my own work and I'll call it Nimitta. And so that's how it came into being. But like you said, Gayatri, it's still a work in process. I still don't know how it is going to come up, but that's how it sort of happened. And what I learned through this process is that at least we need to be present with ourselves that much that we are able to identify what is showing up, where we need to take an action, which direction is calling us, and where we need to go to. And it is difficult as hell. I don't need to tell this to all of you. I think you all have had your fair share of challenges. But that's how my things sort of happened. And my question to all of you is, in the process of allowing yourself, your self-expression, what is it that showed up to you? Like, what really happened in the background, which really allowed you to put your authentic and your genuine voice out there? What is in it for other people to take away from?
Uh, okay, so I'll answer that my perspective on this. I'm a hospitality graduate, so pleasing people, comes as parcel of your your profile. And I realized that over the years that also became part of my persona. So, you're always trying to please people, be it at home, family, colleagues, seniors, clients. So, while taking care of others, others' needs and wants and desires, somehow, I had completely resolved my own resolutions. And that's when over the time, when I realized that I'm doing everything perfect for everyone, yes, I'm not happy. Because the moment you put someone else ahead of you and you put yourself, a step below, there's always a difference. You're not at par with people, and that's one thing that I changed, wherein I stopped pleasing people and I became apologetically myself. So this is me, deal with it. And then it just changed everything because I realized the moment I was happy, everyone else around me was super happy. So it's the happiness within that reflects outside. If you're not happy inside, you cannot make people happy. So that's one change that I did, was I just started to be the same person inside out. And then that changed everything for me.
I have no idea how many people will relate to this. And if guys, if you're listening to this, if you agree to this, please show me a thumbs up, because I need to make sure there's more people like me. But I felt if I'll be happy, people are not gonna like it. If I'm going to express myself, people will find faults in me. And I think that was the hardest thing to get over with. I'm not gonna say I've actually completely, gone over it, but it's work in progress. But it made me feel anytime, even in school, if I did something more than others, uh, people stopped talking to me, or people started to kind of allude me to their, not include me to their parties, not include me to their lunches. I Sorry, I'm having some emotional things right now. I want to be like, I want, and if that means that I don't show the person that I am, then that's okay, for a very long time. And I think, Magda, when you spoke about the fact that, you know, there are going to be people who are not going to like you, and there are going to be people who are going to like you, and then that's how you find out. It was a long-ended lesson for me and a long-ended journey for me. But I'm actually, I want to tell you, I've started. I'm somewhere, in between that journey. It's okay if some people don't like me, but it's my need to express. It's my need to say something that I want to say. It's my right to say something that I want to say. It's my right to feel. It's my right to, be who I am. And the moment you, sorry, I'm still having emotional things. Sorry. The moment you allow yourself to be the person that you actually have known to be for a very long time, like I think since my childhood, at least I'm comfortable in my own skin. And the moment you start becoming comfortable in your own skin, I think either there's two things that are going to happen. There will be people who are not going to like it, and they're going to move away, or not include you in in their little sororities, for example. But there will be people who would open up their arms, like strangers would just randomly come and say, thank you for sharing my story. How did you know my story? This is what I wanted to say. Thank you for doing a great job of expressing. And I feel validated. I feel I feel like somebody understands me just because I chose to tell a story about somebody else. And even in my, stand-up acts and, my funny stories is where I've understood that people are finding themselves. And that was a big shift for me. People, okay, fine. My friends or these people, this little lot might not like me, but I'm doing something I was supposed to do. I'm doing something with my gift, is how I felt. I have a gift. I'm not actually creating these stories. These stories are, or these poems are coming to me. But today this poem has helped somebody through their mental health. And the moment you kind of make that shift, everything is like, it's in perspective suddenly. It's like, fine, I can deal with this part easily. I think that was the hardest. And that is, if you guys are listening to this, go ahead and make yourself the most truest version of who you think you are, is what I would like everybody to take away. Magda.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'll go because so you talked about rejection before too, and a lot of what you're saying resonates with me because, like, in my MBA, I was the events club person. All the parties happened because me and this guy Alex organized all of them. So, and what's really funny is that I feel like I was responsible in a good way for building that community. And then at the end of the MBA, they gave out an award for community and I didn't get it. And I was like, oh, everyone said they voted for me. And I feel like that was maybe the first point where I'm like, holy crap, like, just because I think people are gonna care doesn't mean that they will. And I think that was the kind of the first time that I realized that maybe it's not just about accepting yourself, it's also being happy to be by yourself. And from that point onwards, I've made a very conscious effort, like through all the different ups and downs that happened after that point, because that was like 15 years ago. But I've made a very conscious effort in forcing myself into uncomfortable situations by myself. Literally dance like no one's watching, even though they are. Like the number of times I've been stopped on the street for singing Queen way too loud on my headphones.
I've been there.
Freddie Mercury is my god. So, but you know, like I forced myself to do these things, and like you know, I people always ask me like about this, where successes in my life have come from, and I can always kind of bring it back to that, being comfortable with myself and doing things by myself and being okay with that, even though it's hard. And what that does is it means that when a door opens for you, you're more likely to walk through that door, because you're not looking for an excuse of, oh, someone's going to reassure me or someone's going to be there next to me. And, you know, that happens kind of, I feel like in all areas of life, in work, in relationships, in whatever. But, you know, if there's something that I can encourage people to do is go have dinner at a nice restaurant by yourself, go see a movie by yourself, go to a concert by yourself. You'll develop a different muscle. And I think it's going to help you kind of understand who you are and the things that you like about yourself, and also the things that you want to change. Like I think it'll surface the things that you've been pretending to be. And then you can be more authentic. You can present yourself to the world the way that you actually are and that actually want to be. And like-minded people, whether it's, you know, clients, boyfriends, whatever, they're going to show up or they won't. Like, I'm single and I'm very happy being single. And my parents finally stopped reminding me that, you know, it would be nice to have some grandkids. Not going to happen, you guys. I might adopt some kids maybe later in life, but not happening right now. And you know what? Like, I'm cool with that. Like, I'm good.
You know, in what I'm listening from all of you, and then what I'm reminded of today is a song by Rabindranath Tagore. It's a Bengali song. I don't know the entire song, just the initial lines, Yadi Tami dak shune kyo na ashi, Tami ekla chalo re, which means if people do not listen to your voice and do not come along with you, you walk alone. You walk alone. And because it's your journey and you just begin it and you walk alone. And I have come to realize is that it's some sort of a test for us, because the moment we are comfortable by ourselves, we start to get like-minded people who like our company, people who really want to come and walk alongside the organizations who believe or who have the same values that we have, and all those sort of things happen. But for anything like that to happen, I think the first step is for us to be completely okay with ourselves, by ourselves. And while you all have been sharing this, I was thinking that it seems like so counterintuitive to how, when we are building the brands, we say that, oh, think about who it is for and who will be your client, who are you writing this for, and from their perspective. But what we are discussing right now is like something evolving right from here. It's like, before we think about whatever I'm doing and who I'm doing it for, the common question of who really I am and what am I here for?
You know, when it comes to brands, it's like this push and pull, right? And as you were talking about this, I can't help but think about Coacharya, because I've gone through this journey with Coacharya as the brand, because at the beginning of my tenure here, Coacharya didn't start when I got here. It was here before me, but you know, things did change quite a bit. And it was a lot of that thinking, you know, who are the people we want to attract, etc. And I feel like because we were able to kind of let go of that, you know, and focus on like-minded people will find us. Our brand will resonate with the people, our values will resonate with the people who want to be part of Coacharya. That might mean that we're not going to be the #1 training institute on the planet, because we are not for everybody. But that's okay. And what has happened has been lovely. People who end up joining our coach training programs, who come to our webinars, they're people who want to be here, who want to meet others. Someone, I think it was Jen, in the comments said, I feel like I'm in good company. That happens all the time. I get emails every single week, several times a week, from random people around the world thanking me, I don't know why me, I guess because my email is visible, for something that Coacharya is doing. And we never do it with, for better or worse. This is a target market. I'm a bad marketer for having done marketing my whole life. But we do things because they feel right, because they fit, because they align with the values and the goals and the, you know, the stamp we want to leave on the planet. And when people find those aspects and they resonate, they latch on and they stay. And it's not like they come to one webinar, get their one CCE and go away. No, like we're part of the community, right? And like people stick. And I feel so great looking at the names of the live attendees today. I know most of you, of who you are. Never met you, but I know who you are. And that's so freaking cool. And yeah, anyway, I think it's counterintuitive, like Komal said, but it does work.
So I would ask Anuradha and Gayatri also, like, what do you think really worked in when you, whether willingly or just intuitively, created your own brands of art by content, and now Anuradha is creating another brand with the sorry, I forgot the name of Kahani Creation.
Kahani Collective.
Yeah.
Collective.
Collective. Okay.
Thank you. Collective. So no, I kind of would have to disagree with you. I think that, so one of my brands, the Art of Content, it actually, we create content for other people, other companies, other businesses around the world, around at least in Canada. And the other one is more personal. It's more theater and films related. So we create stories that would resonate with people. And I think that what I've understood is it's not about creating people content for people to think about what's going to work with people and not. I think you can also storytelling, going back to who you are, right? Being so for example, today you've invited 4 of us because we didn't prepare for this presentation today, right? We just literally came out of the shower, dabbed some lipstick on, And here we are. I didn't have time to think about what I was going to say, but I'm able to say this because that's my most natural stuff. It comes from, good 10 years of building that brand within me, building that want to say something or want to do something within me. So I have it within me. I am the brand, right? Not to sound proudish or whatnot, but I know who I am today, and I'm extremely happy about it, guys. And that's the limitation is. That's all I can give to the people is what I've learned, what I've trusted myself with over the years, and this is all I have. I cannot do another person's job. I can only do my job. I can only be the best version of me. And I've realized that once I know what I'm great at, going back to Magda, the like-minded people actually need that support to be able to do in their spheres as well. So as I built my brand, they've come across like these opportunities didn't start because I opened the shop and then somebody said, hey, I want to come in and knock on the door and say, can you do this? The opportunities happened way before I had the shop because somebody realized they wanted the same thing I had done for my branding, or they trusted me enough to create their brand for them, right? And that's how I started to see, I can also kind of put the same kind of facilitation, same kind of what was that word, like cognizance of who they really are into work. The project, put the project management in there. Okay, you should be talking about this, you could say about this. And if they said no, just sell my product, I can't work with those brands because I don't think that sells on social media. People don't care for your brand unless you're Shah Rukh Khan or like the biggest of all names. It doesn't work like that. And then even if for Shah Rukh Khan, he was a nobody. He started from like television and he's come all the way here. So whoever he is today, he's because he was, he's basically had his own journey. So brands have their journey. The selling point of that story comes very flawlessly. Somebody is going to trust you. Somebody is going to say, this is the brand I want to explore today. And then they're going to warm up to say, this is the brand that I want to continue to buy. And this is the brand now I'm going to talk about it to my other friends. And so they can also buy that. But you can't make that decision for them. You just can't. You can just be the best version of ourselves with the admission that it's your accountability, that if you've taken up a role, then you're going to research it as much as you can. You're going to see what other people are doing. Take the best learning, because you know what, this is too short of a life to learn everything by ourselves. We are here to learn from something Magda has done or G has done, and say, okay, maybe I can put that into the portfolio that I have. So it's a collaborative work that kind of starts to leak onto people, and then they are resonating. End of the day, you're just serving yourself with a more open-mindedness. Like as you create brands, you're also learning about other things. So this is what I have to do. G.
So there was no brand called Art by G in my mind whatsoever when I decided to retire from my corporate life at 40. I just wanted to tell stories. I knew there were stories cobbling within, waiting to come out, and I wanted to write. And that's where, my coaching journey came in, and I finished a book writing while I was doing the coaching. And I thought, okay, I'm set. Now I'm not going to write for the rest of my life. And then the writer's block stuck in, and I couldn't write. And then the creativity came in. As I said, I was painting, and then suddenly, so I've not planned anything. I started painting. I've never learned painting in my life, so I didn't know what I was painting. I would just paint, put it on the social media. People who liked me came and said, "Oh, very nice." So I wasn't very sure whether they were, saying very nice, or they were just laughing at my audacity, saying, "Look at this woman. What is she doing? She's blew up her corporate career, and here she's just making monkeys in abstract." But then I continued. And then I was making jewelry, and then I didn't know whether jewelry would sustain or not. So I was just, every time I'll meet people, I would hand them over, like, we have in India, when there's a religious ceremony, we give a prasad. So we were giving, I was giving it out to friends. Okay, try it out if you like it, So, and then because I was obsessed with it, and I continued to create, I didn't know what to do with it. So we thought of retailing it, and then that's where the brand name came in, and formalized the brand name, found someone to formalize it. So it was all a fluke to begin with. And then while I was doing it, I realized that I do not enjoy retail sales. And my mind was like, okay, if I really have to do retail sales, I may go back to my corporate cushy corporate life, and then sell stuff that I used to sell back there. Telling people to buy an earring and then another pair, and then my anxiety would set in. Whether they're going to like it. I hope it doesn't break. Oh, what they public shame me. All those things would clobber my mind, and I didn't know what to do. So, but I continued to create the brand name slowly, because it was an organic growth. Went out, and friends and people starting wearing them and liking them. Then I realized that when you have a voice of your own, you're always scared whether it will be accepted or not, because most of the people in life try to fit in. You know, if you stand out, you call the odd one, right? People would question your choices. People would laugh at you. But then the moment you realize that not everyone is born to fit in, and it is all right not to be commercially viable. It is all right not to be popular, to be a CEO like your colleagues from back from college. But then at, it's important to be yourself. It's important to have your creativity showcase what you have. There is an individuality. So what I'm making, I know no one can replicate that, because it all comes from within. So whatever that you do, if same with any kind of creativity, people like the creative people, you have a voice. You don't know when there's a purpose, like Komal said earlier, that we all are here to serve a purpose, and the whole journey is spent just finding that purpose to fit in. And everyone that you meet along in the process, relationships come with expiry date, and it's important for some to expire, so that you make room for new people to come in. And everyone contributes. Every person that you meet, every place that you visit, and every conversation that you have, like this conversation today is going to have an indelible mark in my life for sure in times to come in, because there's so much takeaway from this conversation. So every interaction that you have within and outside, inside out again, makes you who you are. You have bills to pay, you have kids to raise, but at the same time, you also are answerable to yourself for who you are and who you see yourself to be. You don't know who that person would be. We're work in progress. So somewhere, fluke. So I started those businesses, and then I realized, and it's important to know, accept your failures and accept your limitations. Whether saying, "Oh, I've started this now, what's going to happen?" So I realized that I don't enjoy retail sales, but what I was making was very good for working women. So I did corporate sales, which was again bulk sales. I didn't have to think about the things which are giving me anxiety, and I did it quietly. So that was another thing that as an entrepreneur, the moment you put yourself out too much in public, everyone's perception can dilute. How you perceive your own work initially. So that's one thing I did. That was, I've started holding back, because in the world of instant gratification, we want people to come and applaud us. But somewhere, just limiting that to a limited circle to begin with, and pat your own back, saying that, okay, wow, okay, I wrote a chapter today. Okay, kudos, rather than going online internet, that really helps. So containing energy also is very important, because unless you harvest that energy within yourself, you'll not be able to be productive. A small bit. Thank you.
There's something like very profound in everything that you all have shared, to be absolutely unapologetic about ourselves, then knowing and accepting our limitations, and then involving other people, what Anuradha said about collaboration. And I think at a point when we are completely accepting of ourselves, it gets easier for us to collaborate with other people, because then the respect for who the other person is comes in, I think, very, very naturally. So we are not competing with others, because the way we have come to know and understand ourselves is so whole, it's so complete, and we know that, nobody else is like us and we are not like anybody else. So there's a space for us and there's a space for everybody else. And I think that's the key. And I didn't even realize we were already like 1 hour, it's just passed by. That's so interesting. And thank you so much. What would I say? I am personally sort of taking away quite a lot, and I'm sure everybody is also taking away quite a lot from this conversation. And so if you lovely ladies, if you can just say, what is this one thing that you're taking away from today's conversation? And any final thoughts before we close the webinar?
I'm taking Magda with me. So Magda, you're coming home with me.
I
You're
weigh a lot.
absolutely-
I don't know if you can carry me.
That's okay. I'll take it. I think that what I'm taking away from this conversation is that we're all in this together. Like when you have, I feel like I don't need to feel isolated and alone in a journey, because even if like you all are from different parts of the world, and look at what the similarity between our stories are today, and what are the similarities between our journeys, and like we have done, like how you said, you so many times you have to pat your own back. I've done that because I needed to feel proud of myself. I needed to move from this one section to another section, and I couldn't do that without that, self pat. I think I feel so connected today, and if anybody, people are going to take something away from today, I hope they take away that they don't have to feel so alone. They can reach out to whoever they think their circle is, including us, and be open to share their story, be open to, just have that knick-knack about, this is what I'm feeling today, and see how we can channel that feeling into a more wholesome version of ourselves.
Beautiful. Thank you, Anuradha. Gee, what are you taking away? Magda is already taken.
I lost.
Like I said, plenty to go around, you guys. Might be easier to chop me in half, actually.
And rather I can do time share.
Timeshare.
Oh my goodness.
My takeaway from today's session is a lot of warmth. The fact that, as women, it's an all women panel, and the fact that, each one of you had the resilience to be now clear. You could have followed Martha could have been marketing and selling jets somewhere, in Australia. Komal was heading urban mobility, Anuradha, has worked so well. But we made that difference wherein we chose to be unapologetically ourselves. So I'm taking that resilience, the resilience and the courage to be yourself from the session. And thank you so much, Komal, for making me part of this.
Thank you so much, Magda.
I just had like a huge judgment in my head. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going to say something and it's going to sound like I'm being like self-complimentary. Anyway, I got over it very, very quickly. Good job, self-coaching, wherever you are. No, because what I took away is that my first reaction whenever people ask me to speak about something or whatever, I'm like, really? Like, why? I honestly don't get it. Then I get into the session and I know that I can make people laugh, and that makes me really happy. So I do joke that I'm the mascot, not the CEO, and I'm actually happy about that. And it's sad that we all have these things in common, but it is reassuring that not only are there others in the same boat, but also that there's things that my experience or what I say can give value to people. Like it felt really good. So I think I relearned things that I said myself, be happy with yourself and be yourself, and others will show up, and then you'll find your tribe, and all these good things. And the most rewarding thing is when people in the comments were saying that they found their people. Like that's pretty freaking cool.
Yes, absolutely.
So, thank you. Tell your friends.
Yeah.
See, equity marketing. Please tell your friends about Coacharya.
Yeah, absolutely.
Plug that
And
in.
what's changing for me is that to let our own creativity flow first, let's just start accepting this creation of the universe. And so being yourself means accepting yourself for whoever you are. And thank you so much, everybody, for showing up, for making this place so warm, so resilient, so full of interesting stories. And so we'll meet next week. And thank you all.
We will meet next week. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'm gonna sidetrack everyone for a second because next week is very different. We have the CEO and the VP of HR for Mercedes-Benz research arm, and we'll be talking about how they're creatively changing the company culture there. So please, if that's something that's interesting to you, please come back. And for all those of you who are coaches in here, ICF is doing some fun things. And by things, I mean changes. And by fun, I mean confusing. So if you are confused about any ICF stuff happening, we are doing a webinar, a special one this time, but on Tuesday. So head over to coacharya.com/events and you'll see the registration link. I will be there. I have a couple calls lined up with ICF to get all the questions that I have answered. So if you have questions about the ICF changes, whether you're a Coacharya alum or learner or not, doesn't matter. Just like if you have an ICF question, email me, Magda@coacharya.com, and I will make sure that we cover those in our webinar on Tuesday. And then we'll also post, of course, that recording, hey Sailor, on our YouTube channel, etc. But yeah, ICF world is fun sometimes. So let's have fun together.
Fun exploring.
Yeah, something like that.
All right, take care. Have a good day. Good night, everybody.
Okay, bye-bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you.